I've been thinking about where do I go from here. Looking for a project that could help me explore myself and let me grow. Maybe teach me something about life and how to navigate it. That's when a question formed in my mind. What would happen if I only focused on drawing for 7 days? Would my skills visibly improve in such a short amount of time? Would I see a difference from the way I usually work on my hobbies, spending a bit of time on each when I feel like it? That was the initial intention behind this project. However, this journey had something else in mind for me, but more on that later. At this point, I just wanted to draw and keep on drawing, and it was here that it all started. For the first day, I had no image in mind. I just wanted my hand to move and create something out of nothing. I drew lines in an almost random fashion and then started connecting those random lines. And as my hand moved amongst the curves, I drew the figures I saw in between. Initially, I struggled a bit. Since this was the first time I recorded my whole drawing process, there was a part of my mind that wanted it to come out amazing and grandiose. I don't know if this happens to you too. Usually when I am performing an action for someone, I do worse, as if the added pressure of being exposed hinders my ability to do as well as doing it alone. But I have been trying to change my mindset. I want to be able to create for myself even when on display. So as I reminded myself that this isn't about performance nor perfection, my flow got better, and throughout the drawing, I felt more at ease, allowing me to bring out my world. There is one thing very clear in this piece, and it's that it has eyes. 70 of them. Yes, I counted. Some shy, some intrigued, some looking menacingly, and I think I understand what's the meaning behind them. This drawing represents the world through my eyes. It's chaotic, beautiful, filled with excitement, variety, and opportunities. However, it is all experienced under the gaze of judgment and ridicule. I carry the weight of expectations behind each gaze, creating feelings of inadequacy. I see eyes everywhere, and to answer them, I take on the shape of those eyes, and I play the role they want me to play. When I grew up, I was made to believe love is not what you receive just for being. It is only given when you are good in the eyes of the beholder. So if you don't act the way that is expected of you, you will be rejected, thrown aside. This belief put a great amount of weight on the eyes of everyone that looked at me. For each look, I had to analyze what is it that this person wants from me. How can I be someone that this person fully approves of? And I would become that person. I also thought about which part of me would make this person reject me, and those parts I would hide away. The world for me became the gazes of a society that demanded I should fit into a mold, and with each mold I took on, I rejected myself. Day 2 was the most emotionally charged one. It began with a resistance to draw. After the first hour of drawing, I noticed that my energy wasn't there. I wasn't as focused and my hands felt like they didn't want to go on. But I pushed forward anyway. Part of being an all-rounder is that you are free to jump between activities when you get bored or tired of one. But now that I wanted to dedicate myself to drawing for a week, something was preventing me from fully immersing myself into it. And I think I know what it was. Being an all-rounder allows me to stay safe in the assumption that the reason I'm not masterful in something is because I have so many things I do. So it's natural that they develop slowly. But this safety is ruled by fear. Fear of what if I'm not good enough even if I give it my all? What if I'm not talented or soulless in my expression, even when I pour my everything into something? And that fear took the shape of my skin on my body, shrinking into itself and disappearing into nothingness. Seeing what was coming out of me was so overwhelming that at one point I burst into tears. The skin is the representation of how I feel under the gaze of the world, shrinking into myself as I experience the pain of being exposed for who I really am. My body is the embodiment of what I'm afraid to show to the world, my flaws, my fears, and my darkest emotions. I was ridiculed a lot when I was a child for being overweight. Having an underactive thyroid, I gained weight by breeding. By the time I was 18, I was 130 kilograms or 290 pounds. This made it so I never felt comfortable in my skin. There were times I passed a mirror and whispered, "I hate you," when I looked at myself. And with each flaw that I see on my appearance, I attribute it to being less acceptable and deserving of love. For example, I try to hide away the skin of my stomach that still feels loose after losing all the weight. I've also been very self-conscious about the top of my hair that is thinning. But the skin is not only limited to my physique, it's every flaw I see in myself, my fears, my insecurities, my lack of overwhelming success. And until now, I always hid them away as much as I could, because every time I let them be seen, I felt judged and rejected. I pushed them into darkness and covered them up. The drawback was that I never felt myself around others, because they would only see the perfect version that I believed is the only version they wanted to see. When I finished this drawing, I felt horrible. I almost didn't want to include this footage, but I believe it's integral to the story. So here it goes. Alright, day 2. I don't know, as I'm looking at this drawing, I feel sad. I feel sad about my insecurities, I feel sad about myself. And it feels like I'm a weak, emotional boy that has no power over his life. I feel weak towards society. I bend to the judgment that I attribute to people, and it makes me feel incomplete. There is a voice in my head that tells me the reason behind my failures is this weakness. The belief that no matter what I become, I will never be good enough. So I have to change myself and hide myself from society to be loved. And it's not really important how successful I become or how much my talents flourish. I will always disappear into the tornado of what I believe people expect of me, and I, as the representation of those people, force myself to be. This therapeutic journey has certainly taken a very dark turn. I'm just hoping tomorrow will be better, cause today I'm not really feeling good about myself. This painting is showing me so much pain inside of me that I'm not sure I can solve. Like, if I'm bending so far to hide away my insecurities from people, will I ever be able to overcome this? I'm not sure. Hopefully I can. Surprisingly, I started day 3 feeling much better than the day before. Maybe it was realizing how hiding my flaws have been holding me back, or my plan to finally share them with the world that made me feel lighter. It could have also partly been due to the hot yoga class I spontaneously went to in the morning. Alright, it's day 3, and today I feel like something has shifted within me. When I woke up today, I felt a sense of calm that I did not expect, considering that last night I was almost breaking apart. But I woke up, I felt extremely calm. I had also booked a hot yoga class, and I went there, and all my focus was being present in the moment. I felt that sense of calm radiate throughout my body. It was as if I found something that would remain unshaken, even through all these insecurities, even through all the problems that I feel I have. I felt the presence of something beyond all of that I feel like I've been missing. Right now, I just came out of the shower and I felt the need to record to explain this, but I feel like today's drawing is going to be different. I don't think it's going to be the same as the last ones. I feel a great shift, and I just can't wait to see what the result is. Anyhow, I wanted to visualize that lightness. So for the first time in this journey, I drew with intention and a clear image in mind. A man taking off his mask and holding a black crown. And the lightness I felt came in the form of the layers peeling off my body. This day I felt really connected with my emotions. I even went and got ice cream in the middle of it, wearing an outfit that screamed I'm feeding my inner child. And the drawing, while lacking in complexity, made up for it in its therapeutic sense. With each layer I drew, shaded and peeled off, I felt lighter within myself. The mask represents the perfect version I show to the world, and the crown that binds it to my face is my pride and prejudice. They create my idea of perfection, my need to feel that I am better than everyone and above everything. But secretly, it shows that I believe I should be above myself, and that I am never enough. The never-ending pursuit of perfection is in a way the rejection of self. While you can gain admiration by trying to be extraordinary, if you are consumed by its pursuit, it turns into a bodysuit of clay laying over you, hiding away not only your vulnerability, but your true self. And if you let it be, it will become thicker, to the point that you can't recognize yourself. By that point, even if you receive the love you deeply crave, it still wouldn't make you feel safe, because that love is not directed at your whole being, it's only the admiration for the parts you let be shown. Alright, here we go. The end of day 3. Today was really different. I definitely did not expect this to happen. I felt really bad last night, and honestly in my mind today's drawing was gonna be something really dark and twisted. But to my surprise it came out very different. Also, what's interesting to me is that drawing each layer felt really therapeutic. As if by drawing each one and coloring them, I was lifting the weight that I have been holding on my body for such a long time. I feel like the key to my freedom, the key to my happiness, is to be able to finally peel those layers off. And even though this painting is really optimistic, my progress is not complete. But I know that something has changed. I feel like a small fire has been lit within me, and it's fighting. It's fighting through the darkness, trying to come out and show itself, to tell me I'm here and I'm gonna take us where we need to go. I think I'll just have to wait until tomorrow to see what happens next. But I'm really looking forward to it. Good night. From this day forward, I felt very little resistance to my focus on drawing. Even though I was very busy the next 2 days and I only had the evenings to draw, I felt myself extremely drawn to it. It was like a calling, no longer about being good or perfect at something, and not for the purpose of validation, but of self-discovery. Every stroke seemed to reveal something to me. Every mistake seemed intentional and building towards bringing out my unconscious mind. And for the 6 hours I spent on this drawing, I was completely isolated into my own world. Funny enough, the wind started to pick up from here on out, as if it wanted to fuel my fire, so I had to get warm. Also, my slippers almost slipped away, pun intended this time. The fire represents the hope I have within me that my darkness would clear away, that with my actions and beliefs in myself, I can one day be free of my insecurities and fully find and embrace myself. It's a drawing of me with my body tainted by fears of judgment and my self-belief acting as a fire that burns them away, showing the pure version of me. But at the end of this journey, I came to understand the purpose of this fire was something else. Although it still does stand for my drive, my direction, and my choices that are bringing me toward the light, the same drive that pushed me to stay up until 3 AM for 2 nights to finish this drawing, which made me realize by exposing my sources of darkness, and while still fearing them, letting them be seen, it releases the power they hold over me. Freedom is in every choice I make, every second that I choose to be present, every time I tell myself it doesn't matter what outcomes you get, or how you feel rejected and dejected, I will always be here for you. And that drive is pushing the fire deeper within me, showing me more of my true self. On day 6, my approach to drawing changed a bit. For one, I had an eraser now to create the image exactly the way I wanted it to be. Even though I was not sure that was a good thing at the time, later I realized there was a reason behind its use. For this drawing, I wanted to explore what was inside the fire within my body, and it came out as me dancing with my inner child around that fire. But as I looked at the empty space above our figures, I saw the shape of a twisted shadow. It was looming over us, trying to take hold of us, hide us away, and the fire was in a way protecting us from it, burning it and pushing it back. This piece kind of mesmerized me. I couldn't stop looking at it. That night I had my dinner while staring at it. It was almost as if it was trying to tell me something. My darkness had a more calm nature to it than what I was used to. The chaos I usually put into that darkness was no longer as chaotic, and in its eyes I didn't feel the judgment I usually would. It felt more like sadness, a melancholic feeling of a protector or parent losing their grip on their child, fearing what would happen to them in the cruel world without its protection. And I felt its pain. The light initially represented my core being, my inner child without the influence of the fears and trauma I had to experience. It was also the source of the fire within me, my source of uniqueness and humanity, my kindness, trust, and my innocence. It is the voice that shapes me while staying hidden from me. I felt that I had neglected this light and directed it towards gaining validation from the outside world, because I never truly believed I'm capable to give it the love it deserves on my own. So I made it dance and perform to gain the love from others. And even though I was not yet fully ready to give it that love, it still gave me the hope that it can light my way through this darkness, that I will finally be rid of what corrupts my soul. However, my last lesson gave me something other than hope, something that I did not at all think would be the conclusion of this journey, but I'm so happy it was. I started day 7 with a clear picture in mind, a perfect white wing to represent my freedom, which would also be the title of this day. Ironically, the wind was so strong this day that it kept knocking down my camera stand, so I couldn't draw in the balcony where I felt most free, and had to head inside to start working on the most beautiful wing I could draw. I always had an ideal about being able to fly when I was a child. I kept drawing flying cars and humans with wings, and at every point in my life, wings represented something different. At one point it was freedom from the weight on my body, then it was my financial hardships, then being able to leave my oppressive country. And at this point, I believed I would finally be free when I burn away all the darkness within me. That my fire, my drive to better myself, should take away all fears, insecurities, and traumas I've experienced, and that I have a pure, confident self waiting to come out. A light that is dimmed by my own shadow. I felt tired of the need to pretend. I wanted to no longer hide away, and I wanted this wing to represent that freedom. But as I kept drawing and erasing the feathers so that they would come out perfectly, it hit me. This wing did not represent the idea of freedom I had. If it did, I wouldn't be so obsessed with it being perfectly shaped. No, this wing was the opposite of my purity, or my light being my only chance of freedom and happiness. This wing was the representation of everything that I felt I need to be to gain love and acceptance, to be complete, and to be perfect. It was my erasure and redrawing of self into the perfect image. It was my darkness. So I started to draw it onto the wing, each feather taking the shape of my fears and insecurities, but also my memories, my longings and desires. And as I was filling them in, turning my perfect pure wing into a corrupted impure one, I realized it. The secret to my freedom is not burning away my darkness. The world is full of darkness, and no matter who you are, parts of it find a place onto your soul. You can try to reject it, hide it, or layer it with pride and performance, but it won't go away. When I started this project, I wanted to find a path to see where drawing consistently would take me. Maybe I would discover something about myself. Maybe I would find focusing and dedicating myself to one thing is more pleasing than my usual way of life. I also wanted you to see through my eyes, to understand why I see the world the way I do. But in that exposure, I felt my insecurities more than I had ever felt before. To the point that I even wanted to reject my own skin. I felt the weight of my own expectations and my need for perfection crush my soul. I wanted to hide away, but I no longer could. It was time for a change and the time to take off the mask, putting away my pride, my need to look perfect, and to show the world I am complete even with my flaws. So I searched within my soul for a drive, an energy, a fire to burn away all these insecurities and need for validation, allowing my pure self to finally come out. Within that fire, I found a child, or the version of me that was still not tainted by the cruelty of the world. It was the beauty of experiencing life with curiosity and without the pressure of conformity. I found the reason for my existence, my soul, my light. But then I also found something else, something that took the role of protecting that light and to keep it alive. Even in my path of self-acceptance, I always rejected myself. I thought by accepting myself, I would no longer feel vulnerable or insecure, that I would not crave validation from the outside world. But now I finally understand that I am not complete without everything that brought me here. My darkness was my only means of survival in the cruel world of judgment I was raised in. It helped me to work as hard as I could to get out of the life I did not desire, and my passion for creativity, art and self-expression, my sympathy and compassion for those I love, it is all made of my light, but it is my darkness that shapes them. It is the protector of my fire and what fuels it. Finally, I understand the purpose of my light is not to burn away my darkness, but to let it be seen by me, to let it be accepted and embraced. This is my path to freedom. With me as the light showing the way, and my darkness as my wings, I can finally fly.